So in this video, I want to spend a few minutes talking about these highlighters. They're called the Zebra Mild Liners. And you might have seen them before. They've been really popular since they've been released, which was maybe a year ago, maybe 16 months, something like that. But they're a relatively new product in the world of stationery, and they've become quite popular. I've been really surprised by seeing how many lists of top stationery items they appear on. So I guess they really resonated with some degree of the buyers out there. So I've bought a few of them over the years, or over the year or whatever, and I wanted to talk about them briefly. This was the 5-pack, sold in a little carrying case like this. This is the Japanese variety. They're also sold in a US and I believe a European variant. The packaging here is quite cool. This is definitely a reusable case, so that's nice to keep everything organized. This was the 5-color set. It's also sold in some different sizes, I think up to 12 or maybe even 20. Some larger sets definitely do exist. This one is yellow, orange, pink, blue, and a gray. In case you can't tell from the name or haven't guessed yet, a mild liner is Zebra's version of a mild colored highlighter. You could probably tell that pink is a common highlighter color, but this is more of a salmon. It definitely doesn't have that fluorescent color you might expect to see from a standard highlighter. Same with the yellow, the orange, the blue, and then I'm not really sure I've seen too many gray highlighters, but the gray as well. These are dual tip highlighters. So on one side you have this, the classic chisel tip, and it's pretty standard, not that big, not that small. It's definitely not as big as a Stabilo or one of those like very large highlighters. It's a pen style, not like one of those wide, thin ones. On the other side, you have the point tip, or sometimes called the bullet tip, and that would be more for just kind of circling something, or more of a pen type situation. So dual tip, both sides will post, so you don't have to worry about the cap. And you can see that there. Color indicator on the cap, which is nice when you have a larger set. Not too much on the body itself. It's all plastic. Clearly, it's essentially a marker. It says mild liner, and then there's an indicator for your bold tip or your fine tip, and then not too much else there. The price at retail would be 100 Japanese yen, so a little bit over $1. But typically in the US market, you see them sold in sets. Here are the colors if you want a quick comparison. Yellow, orange, blue. The gray is quite odd. It almost has a pinkish tinge to it, which is kind of strange to me. Like there's just the slightest pink undertone to it, which is really weird, but there's that gray. I don't know if that's really for highlighting or for coloring in or just for indicating, but that's there. And then you have that pink or that salmon color. Clearly, we could see from the sample that the fluorescence is lost, and it is exactly what it says on the box. It's a milder version of a highlighter. So you can color in, or you could highlight text without really taking over the page, or you're kind of losing focus from what you're doing, so your eyes are entirely drawn to what's being highlighted as opposed to the text overall, I guess. I would say these are really, based on testing them out for a while and using them actually like for highlighting, it's more of an aesthetic thing. It's like, hey, I want to highlight and I don't like super bright yellows or pinks. I want the kind of a more muted yellow. It's still pretty bright yellow. It's a bold color. It's not like it's I guess it's more mild than a fluorescent highlighter, but they definitely stand out. It's still very much a highlighter. You won't lose this. So again, I haven't found these to be more effective than standard highlighter colors. They're just not fluorescent. So does that make them mild? Sure. Does that make them better or worse? It's entirely down to one's preference. So I did want to not just talk about colors here. I wanted to talk a little bit about how it works, how the mild liners stand up to ink. So we have a ballpoint of gel, Jetstream, which is a hybrid, an erasable, and then this was just a fine liner. So typically, if I was highlighting, it would be maybe like written text in a book. You might also highlight your own notes. So now it's gonna kind of go through these and just see if the highlighter will wreck the colors, and then how much of that color is picked up on the highlighter. So I really, I know if you're like going and getting high-end specialty mild liner highlighters, you probably don't want to see them getting all marked up with your text. So not bad here, not too much pickup. The yellow will be the true test. And then as far as running goes, obviously the ballpoint holds up really well. It's an oil-based ink designed for challenges like this. See a little bit of running from the gel, nothing too bad. And the rest are good, so no problems there. That just means the ink here isn't like hyper, I wouldn't say corrosive, but it's not really pulling your standard inks off the page the way some bad highlighters can do, or just some markers will do. No real problems there. Again, the worst will always be a gel or a rollerball. It has a water-based ink, and the solvents or whatever is in the highlighter will be the best at picking that up off the page. But from a single stroke, no real problems there. And just like my general writing has confirmed that these ones seem pretty solid. Maybe you don't like the colors, but their outright performance has been pretty good. And then actually the one thing I did want to talk about a little bit was the gray. It's a really interesting choice, a gray highlighter. And I wanted to walk through the visual performance of it. So you're definitely losing legibility as you use the gray. You see that those L's, they're visible, but they're largely lost. That I is getting to be lost. The red is fine. The erasable definitely would have some trouble reading that, especially considering a highlighter is designed to make things easier to read. So again, the gray is cool and it's fun, and it'd be nice for just kind of like marking it up, putting some arrows and those sort of things, maybe doing some quick circling or coloring in or something. I don't know exactly how everyone does their highlighting work, but I'd say from a pure highlighting perspective, it's not that useful. The pink is nice, definitely more muted, and you lose the fluorescence, so pretty good there. But it's definitely bright. It's not that it's not a bright color, so it still works. And the blue, this reminds me just of a standard blue highlighter. Maybe it's a little bit lighter, but really not too much change there. So the Zebra mild liner, not really too much to say. They're well behaved. They're relatively affordable. They're not that hard to find, and they're nice to use. They've held up well for me. I have 2 sets now, I think, maybe, yeah, 2 sets, this set of 5 and then a set of maybe 10 or 12, a larger set. They're pretty cool. They've been my go-to for a while as I've tested them out, and I definitely like them. Are they a big deal, or do they bring anything new or interesting to the party? For me, not really, but it's just a couple different cool colors in a highlighter type marker. So that pretty much covers it. Thanks for watching.